Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut, your host of Helping the Brave. Let's bring in our guest today, Aaron Crippen. How you doing, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
No problem. So it's you versus you, I see, according to your shirt.
Yeah, I always been very intrigued by just the mental aspect of life in general. So it seems like that's the core theme there. It's always you versus you.
Gotcha. Before we get into that, what service and why did you pick that service?
I joined the Army, and why I picked that service. Um, well, my dad and my brother were also in the Army, so just seemed
So,
right.
yeah. Well, my stepdad was in the Marine Corps. My dad was in the Air Force, and my uncle was in the Air Force, and I joined the Navy. So.
Hmm.
Yeah. I didn't, and the only reason I joined the Navy is the other one who said they would take care of me and I could go and become a corpsman and everything else I wanted to do. My son's in the Army, and I didn't know because I was not, even though I had those people in my life, we never talked about it. I had no idea how big the Army was. I had no idea that the Marine Corps and the Navy went to Annapolis together as officers. That whole school. I had no idea about that. It just wasn't part of it.
Hmm.
So you smile because it's like I was on a podcast and I told one of the guys I had no idea how I knew as I was watching the game and it said Marine Corps. And when I was like, you got to be kidding me, really? And the guy almost spit his beer all over the place. He was drinking beer.
Oh, it's funny that you say, it's just the things that nobody talks about because I know, my brother was in the Army and my dad was in the Army. I had uncles that were in Vietnam, and then my grandfather flew a plane in World War II. And then so when I signed up, you think you'd get all kinds of words of wisdom, but I didn't get anything. I got a shoulder shrug and well, you might like it, you might not, and that was it.
Yeah, but you got to remember some of those people you talked about, they were drafted.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
Or if they did, or they signed up so they didn't get drafted in something else. Right. And so it's just us who's had those choices to pick. And so they don't understand, why, the choice, because I think, I understood what I was doing. I mean, I thought I did, but eventually I did.
Yeah. So were you stationed in one spot for the whole time when you were?
Yeah, I went to Camp Pendleton. So I went to San Diego for for boot camp, core school, and then got to Camp Pendleton, was there for 18 months. And then it was like time for your next duty station. It's either going to be a ship or specialty school. And I was like, what specialty school's not on a ship? They said physical therapy. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. And so I went to physical therapy school in Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and then came back to Camp Pendleton. So I was at Camp Pendleton pretty much 5 years out of the 5 years, 5 months and 14 days I was in the service.
Mm-hmm. That's a good field to get into for sure.
But yeah, it would have been, but I was worked in, once I came back and I worked in physical therapy, I dealt with burn patients and wound care and stuff. And I saw some nasty stuff, and I took care of a few people that still haunt me to this day. And it's not them. It's just the stuff that happened. I had no idea. I just thought I had a good memory. But that's not the case. When you get those memories engaged and you still remember their name, their face, everything about them and, stuff, dude, that's things that we deal with. Plus we pulled duty as the ambulance people. So
Yeah.
we saw more shit than most people see. Yeah. So the people you don't understand that people they see a lot in combat, but you guys who pull duty and do that stuff all day long, you see more stuff than they do. They see some major stuff, and I'm not knocking it. Please don't get me wrong there. I'm not, but there's a lot of corpsmen who've seen more stateside than they seen when they're over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. All right. So what'd you do in the Army? Because enough about me. This is not about me. Everybody knows about me.
I was just infantry. I was with the 25th Infantry Division, and went the airborne route and spent.
Did I tell you my son's airborne combat medic?
Is he?
Yeah. Then once he got he transferred from Alaska to Washington State. He transferred out of it, and they put him in the cavalry, and then they shut down the cavalry.
Okay.
And so now he's in something else. Yeah.
Yeah. How long has he been in?
Almost a little over 8 years.
Okay. Yeah. Is he planning on sticking in it or?
Yeah, he's going to stick in it because, and we're trying to get him to go to the, have him pay, the nurse program in the Army. Because I know a corpsman, they didn't have this when I was in, but I know a corpsman who's getting stationed to do that. So it's a big push now once you're in to go through and become the nurse and the other stuff while you're in. And you should do it because that's where the money is. My wife makes so much money as a nurse. It's ridiculous in admin.
Yeah, I imagine those positions are probably pretty hard to fill. I mean,
What do you mean, Phil?
is she a nurse at like a regular hospital or?
Yeah, Kaiser. She works for Kaiser. Yeah.
All right.
No, she never got in the service. Yeah. We never would have met. Yeah, she was in Hawaii until she moved here when she was 32. So, yeah, I was not stationed in Hawaii.
Now, with all the stuff that you saw, how do you feel like it affected you?
I didn't think it affected me. And then I was talking to a ranger who was like, dude, you have PTSD. I go, no, I don't. I just have good memory. No, dude, and they had to go through and explain it to me. Why? And it didn't. I was a workaholic. I still am. Exerciseaholic. I can't do it as much because my knee's killing me. So I try to do biking and other stuff. But I mean, people talk about what they do. Well, at 30, I hadn't lifted weights till I was 33. And then I went ridiculously big after that. And then, so you push it to every level you possibly can from being military to a certain point. And so I didn't realize it affected me until this last 3 years, almost 4 years, actually, because I'm in the mortgage industry. 6 years ago, Biden came in and shut down a pipeline, and I'm not knocking him. I'm just making a statement. And then inflation happened because of all that stuff would cause interest rates to go up. And I'm only talking about interest rates. They went up 5%. We've never seen 5% increases. Yes, I understand they were not supposed to stay where they were, but they could have went up 2% and we would have been fine. 5%, it just kills the market. I had a lot of extra time. And my teams, I don't have the same team. And I finally realized it happened for me, not to me, because I was able to do so many different things that I always wanted to do, create certain things I always wanted to create. And that's what you have to look at. Things that happen to you, you have to look at, did this happen to me or for me? Because if I would never had that happen, I wouldn't be creating apps and other stuff I'm doing now.
I don't know all the stuff that you're doing, but I know I did a lot of research, and a lot of the stuff that you are doing is pretty remarkable with how you're helping so many different people. Just like you said, like you didn't know you had PTSD, but my brother's on disability for that and some other health problems as well. But I mean, PTSD was a term that I never really knew anything about that. And I mean, I dealt with some survivor's guilt, and I didn't know what that was until years later when I was out,
Right.
So,
well, because they don't suck it up.
Yeah.
Buttercup.
Yeah. That's
yeah. And you didn't, and when I got out, PTSD was a scarlet letter. You didn't even say you had it. You didn't say you had depression. You didn't say you had anxiety. You didn't say any of that stuff. And now it's totally different. It's they've learned that if they don't deal with it, and I'm not talking to the VA, because the VA, I'm sorry, but I'll talk bad about them all day long because I went through it, and it's even in my medical record what I've said about them. The fact that they just don't care. I mean, if it's medical, no problem. Mental, it's not. They act like they care, but it takes 4 months to get seen by a psychiatrist. If they cared, it would take 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know how you'd go about fixing any of that. I mean,
make it, privatize it.
Yeah.
Give everybody insurance. Go wherever you need to go to get taken care of. That's how you fix that, because there's no way they're going to fix this government agency. There isn't a single government agency that runs perfectly. But there's a lot of private companies that do amazing because they have budgets and they don't have extra money. They got to make sure that they bring money in. These people just use up and don't get me started, man. I'll be here for hours. But the money they waste in these government agencies is ridiculous. I mean, just what they found with Doge and all that stuff. It's just a little scratch of the surface. It's horrible what they waste. I mean, when I was in the service, it was always, well, we got this 20 grand left over or 30 grand. We got to spend it so we get it again next year.
Yeah. I've heard that many a times with
Yeah.
a lot of different things, ammo that we have to use up and so on.
Because if we won't get it again. I don't think we need it.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, but I mean, I'm just talking in general. I mean, everything that I've seen, and I wish the VA cared about. I mean, I always tell people it's what John Rambo said in Rambo 2, where he wants, what every other guy who came over here had spilled his blood for this country wants. He wants this country to love it as much as he loves it. You know what I mean? They want him. Well, I can't say it right like he does, but it's that whole statement. The military doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
And so if you don't get out and you don't go get your benefits, you're an idiot, because they sign online saying they'll take care of you. That's part of being taken care of, is those issues that happen to you while you're in, that's going to affect you for the rest of your life, whatever that is. And I got into, so I finally went and got my benefits, and I'm at 90. I'll be at 100 soon, because there was 3 things they didn't get because the guy who helped me didn't explain to me certain things. And that's why I started everything I've started, because the process I went through, and it must be easier for people. It does not need to be harder for people. You need to go get help so that you don't commit suicide. Most people think the VA was there to help you commit suicide so you'll go away. And it's a government agency. It's like the DMV. They don't care if you get a driver's license or not. They go to work either day. They don't care. Same thing with the VA. They were supposed to be there. But medically in my town, Modesto, the thing's great. But to go through the PTSD part and everything else, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I had some horrible experiences in a VA hospital. I spent 8 weeks in one stent and another 6 weeks in another stent. And at one point, it took me 6 months to walk normal again. And then they kept telling me nothing was wrong with me. And they kept, which if you're hurt and you're in the military, you don't get treated well. And it doesn't go well with your, how you feel about yourself or with anything. Nobody knows what to do with you, and you kind of get treated really badly. So, but I fought hard, and then a year later was able to get back to my unit, back to my guys. And I still had a lot of problems and did a few more deployments. But when I got out is when things started I still had problems with my back and still had some issues. And then it wasn't until after I was long out, I was just working on the farm. I closed the stall door, ended up flat on my back, couldn't move, and ended up getting to a chiropractor, and he took an x-ray of my spine, and then he just looks at it and goes, "Oh, when'd you break your back?" That's how I found out I broke my back. And in a lot of ways, maybe, like what you said, what happened to me, for me, or however you want to look at it, you can look at it different ways. But if they would have found it, I mean, it probably would have just been worse. They probably would have fused it, probably would have gone really bad. So I don't know whether to be angry or grateful, but at the time I was pretty angry.
I could see that. And then did you get disability benefits from it? At least I hope.
No, I never chased it down, because
there's not chasing it down. It's so easy to do.
Well, that's the thing, is like when, in the beginning I was trying to get stuff, when you're like, oh, you're getting out, and it feels like they do it on purpose, but I don't know. Like back then, the paperwork,
it was actual paperwork back then. That was the problem. Yeah.
And it's like, if we're getting ready to get out, and they're like, you're trying to do your paperwork. So every day is like sitting at a DMV all day long, just waiting there for somebody to come in and talk to you about your paperwork. And every day it's like the same answer. Oh, we don't have it. You have to go over here. And now you're going over there. And then you're going over here. They put you on that loop where you're just chasing everything. And I just got so fed up with it. I just decided to I could have missed my ETS and stayed there an extra 3 weeks to try to get my paperwork finished right, which none of it was finished right. But I just kind of threw my hands up. And
but so you don't have disability to this day?
Nothing, no.
Dude, we need to talk offline. And because in your medical record is an issue where you were taken care of. That will show those issues happen at that time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to get it all together, because I got out in 1990, and I was able to get my stuff. I have PTSD, but the problem was my PTSD was diagnosed in April. We submitted in March, and they didn't tell me to keep uploading that stuff through the process. And that's why I didn't get my PTSD in there or my sleep apnea. So, I mean, there's so many ways to get it. I've learned it now is so much better than it was back when we got out and when I got out, meaning that I fought for 20 years. It was a nightmare. Now it's so much easier. It is so much easier. It's just a process. That's why I created vaclaimbridge.com, which is a website where you can upload your letter, all your stuff. But don't worry about it. I'll walk you through it. But it's because I got tired of people not knowing how to deal with it. And there's so many companies out there who would do it, but they want 5 times your increase, which you, with that back issue, you're 100% disabled all day long with other stuff. And that's $4,000 a month if you're married, 39 if you're single, tax free.
Yeah.
And medical for life. Free.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that whole route
that's the problem. It is hidden. I don't want to say it's hidden. They never told us about it. It was always a secret. Only the people who knew about it worked in admin. And that was because they worked in admin and that's all they knew about. They just sat there and never, but the people who were in the field who did all the work, we didn't know about it. Or when I got out, we weren't told. I put in for it. They gave me 10% to go away. I thought that's all I would get forever. I went back again in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I got nothing more. Well, I didn't know there's a whole process and a way to do it. And that's the problem. If you don't do it right, you get denied.
Yeah, they seem pretty quick for that. I mean, from my experience when it started and trying to exit an ETS and all that, it was very, very dismissive with everything. But
yeah, but you're Army. Please don't take that wrong. But this is, and when did you get out? What year?
2003.
Yeah, so I mean, it was getting better. But the problem now, people since 2015, 2016, it's totally different. And in the last 8 years, it totally was changed. When Trump got in, it would seem like it got so much better for vets that you go anywhere to get help. And then they changed. Biden's year said, oh, you can still do that, but you have to get approval first. Okay. That's not the same thing. And so, yeah. So, I mean, don't worry. I'll take care of you. Back to you now. All right. So so you were in the Army, infantry, hurt yourself, got out. What did you do when you got out?
Well, that's the interesting part and why I never chased it down is I was able to, at the time, that's always the hard part. When you exit out, I mean, it's like you're kind of, you feel like you're thrown out on the street. Cause at the time I didn't really want to exit out, but I was having some pain issues and some problems and issues. And so I exited out. But once I discovered that what the issue was, I was able to kind of get help and things started getting better from there. So, I was, before I joined the military, I was into stunts. I was a stuntman doing commercials and live shows and that kind of thing. So when I got out chasing different jobs, I ended up getting back into that. And actually the military was one of the things that helped me the most with it, because then I was able to play. It's a lot easier to be a soldier, a pretend soldier, than an actual real one. So,
and this was, so you're a stunt person with a broken back?
Yeah.
Lucky you didn't hurt yourself more, huh?
I guess so. I mean,
and back to your thing is when you got out, we all got out. We didn't need it. I became workaholic. I did all this stuff. And then, you next thing you know, down the road. But what people don't understand is when you get to the other side, like 60, 65, insurance is ridiculously expensive. Mm-hmm. That is the main reason to get your disability, is so that you don't have to worry about insurance, because that stuff is expensive when you get older.
Yeah. Another whole route.
I'm just saying, because the reason I really was pushing to get mine to 100, because my wife works for Kaiser. We have amazing insurance. I don't need it right now, but when she retires, there's 5 years we won't have it, because she's not old enough to be retired. I was like, stay working. I don't want to. So, but I got, I'm covered, but I want to have it to where she's covered. And it's just, I'm at 91. I need to get to 95 to get to 100. That's how it's a whole thing with percentages and everything else. It's easy to do. So I'm just saying why you want it. We didn't need it while we were making money and doing everything. But as we get older, we need it because it's going to get expensive to cover all that stuff ourselves, unless you're independently wealthy and just don't care.
Which I don't know many people like that.
Well, I do, but then you can lose it, and then next thing you know, you're hurting. And that's what I try to explain to people. It's like it doesn't matter how well off you are right now. I don't need the extra four. I ran into a Vietnam vet up by my cabin, and he can't hear it all. Like, did you get in for any disability at all? Oh, dude, I make so much money from this, this, and this. I go, it's medical. Don't care. Don't waste your money on medical. Mm-hmm. Because you can still get it to go to other places, and you can be living out of the country and get taken care of through the medical, through the military. So, all right. So you did stunt work. Did you do that forever?
Yeah, still doing it actually. Now that I'm an old guy though, and I do more of some driving and setup. We do a lot of rigging work. You see some equipment behind me and some motorcycles. We'll drive those and put cameras on there and get shots needed for that. And
where are you located?
Based out of Chicago right now.
Wow. Is there a lot of work in Chicago or outside of Chicago?
Yeah. I mean, we was traveling for a bit, but we kind of ended up on that NBC run, all the Dick Wolf shows, the Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. And then there was a lot of stuff coming in there too. So it's been the last 10 years been really good at able to stay busy and keep driving on.
Now, do you own the stunt company?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's your company.
Mm-hmm.
Is a veteran. So it's a veteran owned stunt company.
Yeah.
So do you get any special treatment because of that?
No. No. The film industry is so finicky as it is, but I'm
in Modesto, California. I was in San Diego forever, so LA, so I understand the film industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I keep talking because not everybody else. So I'm just going to let you know that I understand what you're saying. I'll explain it more to everybody else when I think they need to know more. So go ahead.
Well, it's just such an odd. It's a very odd industry, and they kind of. I have some equipment that most people don't have. And so there's not a lot of, I'm kind of in a very small niche here. So there's not a lot of competition in some aspects of it, but we have a really good team here and everybody watches out for each other. But when it comes to production side, there's no special treatment on anything.
Now, how did you get into that? I know you said you did it before you were in the military, but how did you really get into this to where you are now? It's like if I was a vet and I'm getting out and I wanted to get in the stunt business, what would you recommend? Don't do it.
Well, I guess the first thing I would say is if you don't truly love it, don't do it because it's a lot of work. It takes a long time to build up the relationships and the trust. I mean, like most things, it's a very trust-based business and it's a relationship-based business. So no one's going to put you in a spot unless they trust you and have the faith that you can do what you're supposed to do, so, cause nobody wants to get anybody hurt, so that takes time. So it depends, it's not like something you can just jump into and start working full time at. It's kind of like takes a while to get there. So, but
that's anything though. It takes 15 years of overnight success.
That's a great way to put it.
Because everybody thinks it's overnight. It's like, no, it's been 15 years. I interviewed Brian Smith, who brought UGG to America on my other podcast a few years ago, and he talked about how he lost the company and how he went home and he was laying on the floor curled up, and his wife yelled at him, "Get your ass off the floor and figure a way to get the company back." And so he did. So it's just that you never know. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not, if you want to become a nurse, you get paid pretty well overnight, but it's not the same thing. My wife makes so much money at Kaiser, but she's been at Kaiser 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
to get to where she is. And that's, that's a lot. It's the same thing. You have to put the time in, you have to, on everything, learn everything. I've been in the mortgage industry for over that. And, I do really well. I can do a VA loan in 8 days, but that's beside the point. Not everybody needs that, but when somebody does, I'm there for them. But I'm just saying it's the same thing. We put our knowledge and we figure ways how to do things better and faster and than anybody else. And that's just who we are as veterans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting. We have quite a few veterans that are in the industry, and it's definitely beneficial. I mean, I think it's one of the unique things that I think helps out the most is you're in the military, you're stuck with all these different people, and you have to learn a lot about people very quickly. And you learn a lot about leadership. You're going to have a lot of leaders that aren't good, and you're going to have some that are. And so you very rapidly learn, what works and what doesn't work. And the same approach usually doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, it's funny because I just interviewed right before you Terry Weaver, who is a director, actor, and he does indie films, and he just had his first indie film released, and it's on Amazon, and this and that, and is doing really well. And it's out of Texas. He's in Texas. But what I'm getting at is amazing how, vets, we're business owners. We do all these different things. And at first I was like, he was a corpsman in the Navy, and he was stationed at Camp Pendleton, where I was in San Diego, or it's really North County, San Diego. But, and I when I read his bio, I was wondering if he was stationed in San Diego, because that's how I got into acting and modeling when I was younger. I was much better looking, and had hair. So, because I had a Rotary thing where I was the president of my Rotary a couple of years ago, and I brought out my pictures, and they were like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Yeah." It's amazing how good you look at 19 and 20. So.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
But what I'm just saying is, like, I've interviewed many vets who write novels. I mean, I have vets. I interviewed the two guys who write the Jack Clancy stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's amazing how many people that I'm running into that are, they're writing novels, they turn them into movies, they do this, and it's really amazing.
That's one of them. I just finished my first book, and it comes out April 21st. And
I want a copy of it, and I want it signed by you, please.
I can.
My address. Yeah.
If you send me your address,
I'll email it to you from the email that I have.
Yeah, I'd be happy to send you one. I think
because every vet I have on has a book. I want it signed. I put it up on my at work at my other. This is my studio, but at my actual office, I have a whole wall, and I put them up on there.
Oh, nice.
Man, it's amazing how many military books type things that there are, the novels and stuff, kind of like a Jack Clancy. And it's just amazing how many people write those things and are doing really well with it.
Yeah. This one's more of a memoir style, but it's been quite the process. But and it started out with, I mean, you would relate to this for sure. It's when I had my kids, it was like, how do you teach your kids that when life gets hard and difficult, and when life knocks you flat, sometimes those can often be the best moments of your life? Like, how do you teach somebody that? I don't know how to teach somebody that, but I know it's happened to me a lot, but through
that, by the way, that's my other podcast, Enter Edison, Your Greatest Accomplishments Come from Your Greatest Defeats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I've had so amazing, I had the guy that created Pictionary, right? I didn't care about Pictionary, Rob Engel, but I talked to him, and he told me how he picked his partners. And so I was like, wow. And, and we had different conversations about that, but there's just so many things in business, and you're in business, that we fail at, that we don't talk about. We keep it. No, you need to tell people it's okay to fail. It's the one place it's okay to fail. Military, you don't fail, but outside of the military, you want to fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's in those moments, like talking about all those hard moments, I wanted to do it in a way where I could share those moments with my kids, that they would get it. And it was a lot of moments I didn't want to talk about or write about or even think about. So that was a long process for myself to deal with. But and then I started turning it into an audiobook, and I have to listen to the tracks a lot, and make sure it's it's right and there's no mistakes and so on and so on. But in the process of doing that, the kids got into it, and they're we would be going to their sporting events, and they would, we're in the car and they're like, "Hey Dad, can we listen to the book?" And I was like, "Well, okay, here we go." And then just the other day, my son had his tryouts, and I was like, "How did tryouts go?" And he was like, "Well, I think I could have did better, but just like you, when you're on top of that, you know, tower and you had to do that jump and you're gripped with fear, I kind of was overthinking." Like he got it, and I was like, so I'm like, my job is done. He's getting it, the message. So if it all fails, it's a win. So.
Oh, by the way, 11 Labs. Ever
Oh
heard?
yeah.
Yeah. They need 30 seconds of your voice and it'll read it like it's you.
Oh really? I got a guy, he's a actor. I was his stunt double. I had my nose broken doubling him before, and he's amazing actor, but he's got the coolest voice. And
Do I know the actor?
his name's Mickey O'Sullivan. He's really good. He's been on a ton of different things. He's maybe not a household name just yet, but he has a pretty good spot in Mayor of Kingstown, that new show. And
What does he do in Mayor of Kingstown?
plays some type of thug. I don't know. I haven't seen.
I guess you didn't watch Mayor of Kingstown. So the main guy's from Modesto, but he's really good, and I like him as an actor because he's good, and that's actually a pretty good show. So I was trying to figure out which guy that was, because there's a lot of thugs, but most of the thugs are Hispanic or other colors. So I don't know what this guy looks like. So
I think he kind of shaved his head, so he had just really stubbles here, and white guy, beard, kind of muscular build. But I don't know if any of that helps. But
no, I'll figure it out. Yeah, and I'm just, because what I'm trying to explain is I do podcasts, and I'm creating a podcast app that you drop your MP4 in the beginning. It automatically does the editing of the sound, automatically has military grade, all those different things, and it goes through. Well, instead of recording your opener and close, it'll do it for you off of off of your voice from the podcast, and it will grab whatever it thinks is the best opener and close for you. It's just freaking amazing what AI will do these days. But it's to a point where it saves you time. Yeah. Otherwise, what happens is my team sends me 19, and I got to record the opener and close on each one for 19, real quick, 19 times, and just go, "Hi, this is Ed Parcaut," just every time perfectly, which I can do it, but it just wouldn't it be easier if I didn't have to do that? Yes, it would be. And it sounds just like me, because what the problem was, it was grabbing my co-host on my radio show's voice, and it was sounded just, I'm like, that ain't me, that's him. I can tell who that is, because it was messing up when I was building it. But yeah, the things you can create today, that is so amazing with the technology we have.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-boggling what could be coming down the pipe. It's hard to even fathom what's possible anymore.
Well, people are going to still want reality, if you understand what I mean. That they're still going to want real people on screen, real people. I don't care who it is. I can tell it's AI. I don't care how well people. I can't even tell. I can tell. I sold by the phone for 18 years. Tones and inflections, I totally get, because that's how I had to listen for people. And I had no idea I had a deep voice till I got into radio in 2018. So now I knew why I did so well by the phone for 18 years with mortgages, because I spoke to mainly who's home all the time? Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my wife told me that when I called her floor when she was at the hospital here, when we were first dating, they were like, "There's a guy on the phone with a really deep voice." It's like, well, I had no idea. What a waste of my voice. I could have done so many more things with it. So what's next for you? You're going to write a sequel after this one?
The ultimate goal is I'd really like to make the book into a series. I think you'd make a really good series. So the kind of goal, the ultimate goal would be creating series and content that has meaning and positive messages, and, about try to inspire people to tell their story, to share their story, that they, you can get back up and keep going, no matter what, and that type of thing. So
Yeah, that's why I do that Interaction podcast, and I do this, but this podcast has become more of a, yes, it's a veteran theme one, but really I run in, in the last month, everybody I recorded, business owners.
Mm-hmm.
So weird that it's so many business owners are veterans.
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
Well, back in the day, it wasn't though. Remember, everybody went to work for the big corporations,
mm-hmm.
and now everybody's doing their own thing for the last 20 some years.
Yeah. Well, I think as I remember when I was a kid, it always was like, go get a job, find a job that has good benefits, stay with that job forever, and then retire.
Yeah, for retirement.
All I saw growing up though was people losing their pensions, losing their retirement, getting fired before they can get their pensions, and that's all I saw was that happening. So I was scared to death to be roped into a job just for the benefits. I was like,
once Wall Street movie came out, right, with Gordon Gekko, and what they would do is buy the companies, and then they would tear everything apart, and then the pensions were gone. That's when I was like, wow, there is no guarantee you're going to have a pension, because if they can buy you leverage buyout and do that, you have no protection.
Mm-hmm.
You're going, Gordon Gekko, who the heck is that?
He's the little green guy that sells insurance, right?
Yeah, no, the Wall Street was what's his name? What was Michael Douglas? He was in the movie, and he was Gordon Gekko was the big Wall Street guy who did all this stuff, and it was a late '80s movie, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. It's been a while. I remember.
Yeah, Blue Horseshoe loves blue steel, or whatever it was. There was that's how they would. Because the only reason I know that kind of thing is because when I was younger, they would, I worked for I took a computer company and put it through the military exchange system to be able to create custom computers and stuff back in the day. Before we didn't need them. I mean, we needed them back then to game and everything, but we don't need them now because everything comes that way. And they would call on the phone and go, hey, I got a stock pick for you, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I just remembered all that stuff, because when they're calling you, that means they're trying to dump it.
What's your favorite movie then out of all time, if you had to pick a movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
A Wonderful Life. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is. That was that one. And then out of all the movies, it was all right. So the problem is that, are we talking Christmas movies? Because my two favorite Christmas movies is It's a Wonderful Life and Die Hard.
Well, it depends who you talk to. People say Die Hard.
I don't care who they say. It happened at Christmas. Bruce Willis didn't think it was one, but and then my other one I like it, which is because it just came. So you're Army, right? So. Mm-hmm. So the Marine Corps had Battlefield Los Angeles, right? Where the aliens came in. Then the Navy had Battleship, where the aliens came in. And then the Army now has, or I should say the Rangers have, a show that's on, it's the guy that played Reacher.
Yeah, Alan Richardson.
Yeah, so there's a War Machine, or what I think it's what's called War Machine. And now the Army has a movie about fighting aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually and all three of those movies are really good. So
yeah, I just saw that one actually.
Yeah, I was like, well, Army really doesn't have a movie. The Rangers have a movie. Because the people who won Battleship were all the old guys from back in the day who was able to move that old ship, the old guys in dungarees, not like wasn't the SEALs,
Yeah.
And Battlefield Los Angeles, that was all the Marines. So
what was that Navy SEAL movie with Charlie Sheen in the
Navy SEALs?
Oh, that's what it was.
That's called. What it was called. Yes,
Navy SEALs. Yeah,
yeah, that's what it was called.
I think that's when everybody wanted to join the Navy and become a Navy SEALs when that movie came out, right?
No, everybody it was Top Gun, dude.
Yeah.
Top Gun is what brought that. Top Gun increased the people signing up more than anything else. Yeah, that was the movie that changed everybody wanting to go in the Navy at the time. They wanted to be Tom Cruise and one of those. I remember those pilots. They were assholes. They were not. Well, you have to be if you're flying one of those $1 million machines back in the day. That's chump change now, but I mean, back in the day, they had to be because you crash those things. Things happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because I was in San Diego right next to Miramar. And so then that's where it was. That was where Top Gun was and filmed and everything. And I was at Camp Pendleton when they filmed Heartbreak Ridge at Camp Pendleton. That was a Clint Eastwood movie, by the way, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember that one. Good one.
Yeah. So, and I was out at those huts. I've been out there with the ambulance and stuff many times. So, Aaron, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you today?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. We kind of went a lot of different directions there, didn't we?
Well, we hit a lot. We hit your life and all over the place.
What is?
When's your movie? When's your book coming out? When's it being released?
April 21st comes out. Yeah.
And it's Amazon and anywhere you find books at online.
Yeah. Correct. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And the name of the book, since we didn't say it.
The name of the book is Love at First Fall.
So Fall Guy was your favorite show?
Yeah, you remember that show? That show was great, wasn't it? I remember
it was good back then, but you try to watch it now, it's not so good.
I remember being a kid watching that show and going, man, somebody will pay you to do that, and wasn't really too good at anything else. I'm like, I'm going to do that.
So, I mean, where did you get into actual, was it Chicago was when you started getting into, I mean, where did you start stunt stuff at? Where were you as a kid? Where were you?
Actually Wisconsin. So I went to a stunt school in Wisconsin, and it was the woman who ran it. She was the daughter of a stunt man as well. And, her being a stunt woman, she opened up the school. And so I went to that stunt school and then moved out west and did some of that stuff and hopped
west, California, west.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to make sure I follow you. LA.
Yeah. Went out to LA, lived out there for a bit and realized how expensive life is.
In LA, it is very expensive. Yeah. I lived in LA for 2 years. So
yeah. Well, you made it out, so that's good.
Yeah, well, that was then I went back to San Diego. So, and then San Diego was cheap. I mean, when I lived there, late 80s, early, and all the way through 2002, it was inexpensive back then. I remember I was looking at some numbers in San Clemente. You know where San Clemente is, right? A house across the street from like the beach, like a block over, was $280,000. That same house in Modesto, $280,000. I was like, damn, people didn't realize how much, nobody wanted to live by the beach at the time because it was, it would fall, they just wasn't the thing. And it's like, even when the town I'm in, we have a lot of rivers. Well, in this place that Stanislaus River comes in and hits Ceres, it's all junkyards back over there backing up to the river. It's like, are you guys killing me? Get that stuff out of here. Let's put some houses over there.
Yeah. The prices by the beach are a lot different now.
Oh, yeah, especially in the Oceanside.
Yeah.
Down there. Yeah, those things were, pretty expensive. And then now you can't touch them for $2 million. So
yeah, almost no matter what size they are.
Crazy. Yeah, you can't. I mean, the money you get to live, for base housing or live off base down there is $4,000 a month. And that barely makes it. I remember when I got in to live off base, single guy, because we didn't have, the barracks were overfilled. Nowhere close to that.
It's funny remembering some of the old paychecks that you used to get. You're like, wait, this is all I'm getting?
That's right. I know. This is how I had to pay for what?
Yeah.
I mean, my son, how much, the rank they make in the Army now, so much faster and everything. Because when I was in, I couldn't get to E5. I was stuck at E4. Just because nobody would get out.
Yeah. Well, then you also I don't know how it works in the Navy, but you have to go to some of the leadership schools before you can make it to E5.
We had to take tests and different things and that kind of stuff. We didn't know. You guys have different things, like, because my son's like, yeah, I went to those over here and I got to do this. And he made E5 within. He could have made E5 in 4 years. That's the reenlistment bonus from at E4, right? Is that right? Yeah, was 40 grand. At E5, it was 10 grand. So he's like, I'm going to wait until after I re-enlist. I'm like, that's pretty smart, Blake. We taught you well.
Yeah. I don't think we didn't have bonuses like that when I was.
Well, back then your re-enlistment bonus was 5 grand if you were lucky.
Yeah.
Enough to get a car, a Camaro.
Yeah. A night. Yeah. One that barely ran. You usually get a pat on the back. Here you go.
Yeah, there was no reenlistment for the Navy, and plus I got my bachelor's and master's when I was finishing up my master's, and they were like, "Are you gonna, go OCS?" I'm like, "Hell no! I do not want to be a line officer in the Navy. That is not what I want to do. I do not want to be on a ship the rest of my life until I get out." Yeah,
my nephew was on a ship. He spent 8 years in the Navy, and he's got a lot of health issues going on. I don't know what it's from, but some people say from the RF signals and the radio towers, and I don't know.
A lot of it can be fuel, and the AF foam that they use to put out fires on the ships and on like aircraft carriers and stuff like that, and the fuel. Yeah. So, or if you were over in the Gulf, and even though you were not right next to a burn pit, but you're in the location of it, you can get stuff from that. It's a presumptive and it's automatic. You just have to find out where you were. If you're in the airspace around that, you could come in a plane over it, and then now you're presumptive for that stuff. Side to side is huge, 50%. There's just so many things to put that's already out there, and that's why I created what I created. It's got like 40 tools to where it tells you all the different things that you can claim for because of where you were if these things affect you. But the fuel itself and the AF arm is some major stuff. So, because if you're firefighting at all, and everybody boot camp, whatever, normally is around that stuff. My biggest thing was tear gas. Jesus. We were tear gas so much at Camp Pendleton.
Is that as part of training?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got,
as we take the people through, and then I had to go through with the people, this is the reservist that I would take care of. Cause when I first got in, and then then we get ready for the Marine side in case, and then send us back through for that. And it wasn't just like, all right, put your mask on. It was like, put your mask on, take it off, put it back on, take it off. It would just mess with you. And and then later you go into the porta potties, and it's all in there because it just goes right into the porta potties.
Little cubicle of tear gas. That's fun.
Yeah, because then it goes down in the hole, and so when it just stays in there you go in there later, and you're like, I can't see anymore. Aaron, it was nice having you on the show. I will send you my address because I want a book when it comes out from you, and I will buy one. Don't worry, I'll email it to you. But it will be later today because I have another podcast right after this.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. I'd love to circle back. Actually, I'm going to get your info and make sure my nephew can start to research some of your tools and all that as well.
Or just have him call me.
Okay.
My number's on the email. Have him call me. I can help him. I don't care. I'm not looking to make money. Same with, I think you need it too. You just don't realize it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's a lot to learn.
Well, it's just 70% of the people getting their benefits are 50 and older right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it was so difficult for us to get them. It is so much easier today for everybody else because they're getting the stuff in their medical record. It's electronic. It's not paper. When we were in the field, nothing got in. When I was in physical therapy, we treated ourselves because we had all the machines that everybody would come to us to get treated for. Unless I needed a cast, then I go down to ortho and get a cast put on. So,
yeah.
All right, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was nice talking to you. I can't wait to read your book. I will email you, and then please have anybody that needs help, reach out to us. We'll take care of them. And we'll, even if it's just, here's how you do it kind of thing. That's fine with us. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.